Broad Street Sports, the best Philly sports podcast.
Well, the Eagles hold on to a 28-23 victory over the Jaguars. And let me tell you something. This was not a game that I was expecting. And I don't think this was a game that anybody was expecting. This Eagles team, but I don't know how to describe it. The team played okay. The coaching, which I thought that we got out of the way. I thought the coaching was done. I thought that we worked out all the kinks. I thought that everything was taken care of when it comes to Sirianni and Sirianni running the offense. I thought it was all taken care of. I look at tonight, and I look at the first half. What an amazing first half. Good play calls, good execution, good first half. The second half, Sirianni, abysmal. Absolutely abysmal. Passing up on opportunities to go up by 9 points by kicking simple 20-yard chip shot field goals, but instead going for 2-point conversions. Then I see screens on third down. Again, it reminded me of something I would have saw with my main man Brian Johnson. So we talk about execution all the time. All the Eagles and fans and sports talk community does is talk about the execution and what the designs are coming from the coaching staff. Tonight, I don't know what it was, because here's the thing. The Eagles finally scored in the first quarter. Let's talk about that for a second. I would have never thought that it would have taken me to the midway point of the year to talk about the Eagles finally scoring for the first time in the first quarter. It took to the halfway point of the season to get to this point. I think that is abysmal. I think that's a serious problem. The fact that it took you 8 games to get to score in the first quarter. Oh, that's abysmal. And that goes on the coaching. But tonight, I want to explain this to you, because this is the first time where the roles have been reversed. The Eagles usually start out really bad in the first half, and then the second half, they turn on the Jets. They turn on the burners, and they play great in the second half. Tonight, it was a total opposite. Tonight, they play absolutely amazing in the first half. Defense shows up. The great catch by Shaquan. Jalen played okay in the first half. Every day, we were up 16-0 going into halftime. You come out of the halftime break, and you can't score. Well, you scored, but it looked insanely sloppy. Again, Nick Sirianni wants to go for it. He has a chip on his shoulder. He wants to go for it instead of kicking chip shot field goals. And if he kicked the chip shot field goals, we would have gone up by 9 points. So I look at the first half, I look at the second half, and I see a total different thing. First half, everything was clean. First half, everybody was doing good things. You look at the second half, you can't score. Your defense is getting spread out. Offensive playbook is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. It's getting shortened. Jalen Hurts got worse by the second. In the second half, I think that is things that really need to be discussed. The coaching. The coaching is a serious problem. It's a problem. And another thing here is what I want to talk about. The defense. This is the 4th week in a row where the defense showed up to play. And I think it's time that we give a standing ovation. We give a pat on the back to Vic Fangio. It's about time we put a pat on the back for Vic Fangio, because this guy has turned this defense around in a hurry. In a hurry. We started this year cussing him out, attacking him, about him having a terrible defensive game, terrible game plan, not using the right personnel, the guy's not tackling, the guy's not putting pressure. You look at the past 4 weeks, and this is a totally different defense. They're putting pressure on the quarterback. They're sacking the quarterback. N'Kobe Dean showed up to play. Cooper DeJean is a dog. Quinyon Mitchell is a dog. I mean, these guys, he's turned this defense around. This is a totally different defense, and I think this is a defense that if I'm an opposing team, you have to be worried about. You have to be scared. You have to be thinking about that this defense is not a defense you want to mess around with, because when they're making adjustments as well. They're not just sitting there running the same thing all game. They are making adjustments as time goes on, and that's something we didn't see out of Vic Fangio in that defense to start the year. Really. So that's the main thing. Without the defense, the Eagles would have lost. Without the defense, Eagles would have lost. Sirianni was outcoached tonight, by far. Absolutely was outcoached tonight. But we will get to that a little later on in the show. We have some call-ins tonight. And, so we have some call-ins tonight. First one is going to be from Vince. Vince, you're on.
Yeah, so I was attending the Eagles game today, and my biggest takeaway from the game is that Nick Sirianni totally blew the game for us. It shouldn't have even been relatively close towards the end there. We have a top 5 kicker in the league, and we're just not kicking the ball on extra points. We're not taking field goals when we're on the other team's territory. I mean, it's a real mistake if we keep Sirianni beyond this year. He really got bailed out at the end of the game by N'Kobe Dean and then Devontae Smith in that third and fourth quarter. Without A.J. Brown in the game, the offense looked terrible, but the defense really stepped up today, and they've been stepping up during these last 4 games. So I'd give a round of applause to Vic Fangio, but the offense really has to step up. And
I mean, again, there's a guy that is talking about the mistakes of Nick Sirianni, and another guy that is talking about how good the defense has played, and the fact that we have to give credit where credit is due to Vic Fangio. The guy put a great game plan together. It looked great, and this is not the first week that he's done that, right? It's not the first week that he's done it. So, again, and obviously Vince here talked about the issues and the mistakes with Nick Sirianni. So we're going to go through them here. Nick Sirianni passed up on 9 easy and free points. He did it again. We talked about this in Atlanta and New Orleans, where he decided to just go for it instead of just kicking and getting the free easy points. So that was the most major issues. And it almost came back to bite us in the ass. It almost came back to bite us in the ass. The fact that we couldn't do it. We couldn't. Our coach sucks, dude. Oh man. And it's just what we keep talking about. It's the same thing over and over and over. All right, so we're going to take this time and go in and jump in to our next caller here. And this is going to be from Sean. Sean, you are on.
What a game. What a game. I mean, first quarter, they finally scored. I can't believe. What are we? Almost half the season in, and they finally scored in the first quarter? Wow. Hurts did played a great game. Even though he got sacked a couple times, he played a great game. Then you got Barkley. Proud of him. Ran phenomenal. Especially the juke moves that he did and jumped 6 foot in the air over the guy. It was incredible. Offense played all right. Left side still a little weak. They got to work on that. Defense played very, very well. Coaching, I don't know what's going on with the coaching. I don't know if it's Nick. I don't know who the hell it is. But these 2-point conversions just about made them lose this game. I mean, what did it end up? 28 to 25, somewhere around that range. It should never happen. They should have actually won this game, but thank God N'Kobe Dean pulled the ball out of the air for the interception. Otherwise, the game was over. Would have been another Atlanta game.
Yeah, I think Sean said it exactly, right? You saw it, and also in Vince's call, where they said that Nick was bailed out at the end of the game. And especially at the end of the game by N'Kobe Dean. Because the defense was trying to keep him in the game the entire night. The entire night they were trying to keep him in the game. And they did. They did. And the defense played well. But at the end of the game, the defense was getting spaced, and Lawrence and the Jags were heading down the field. They were marching down the field. And there was nothing you could do. You needed a big stop. You needed a stop, and you got it out in N'Kobe Dean. We talked about how N'Kobe Dean has gotten better this year, but he's not exactly who he's been. But past couple weeks, he's looked like the Georgia N'Kobe Dean, and that is exactly who we need. That N'Kobe Dean played great. He's been playing great, and Nick Sirianni was bailed out by a good defense. Defense showed up to play late. They got the big play, which is what they needed. You didn't think it was going to be an interception, but it was. Thankfully, they got something. Again, and then Sean also said that the defense, that Shaquan played well. Shaquan was amazing tonight, man. Hurdling guys backwards. Looked really, really good out of him, man. Really, really did. Also, Sean said something about how Jalen Hurts played really, really good. I don't think Jalen Hurts played great tonight. I've obviously been giving Jalen Hurts a lot of praise. I've been talking good about Jalen Hurts the past 2 weeks. He didn't look all that great tonight. He definitely was unable to pick up the blitz, and they were blitzing him a lot tonight. He was unable to pick up the blitz. He was getting sacked a tremendous amount. And again, his ball speed wasn't fast. It wasn't good. He was unable to read defense. He forced a lot of balls into coverage. The one play to Jahan Dotson, he was lucky Jahan Dotson was able to make that play because it looked like he threw it into double coverage. So Jalen Hurts had some mediocre throws tonight. He didn't play awful, but he definitely wasn't as good as he has been the past 2 weeks. Tonight, just forcing a lot of balls into coverage. Unable to pick up the blitz, getting sacked a lot. Things that, again, but it was good to see no turnovers. But it definitely was not the best game out of Jalen Hurts. It really wasn't. It wasn't. They were able to get the job done. And also, just to finish up on what Sean said, Sean also said that the Eagles, that tonight could have been a loss, just like the Atlanta game where the Eagles lost. It was coming to that. I thought it was going to end up like that. Thankfully, it didn't. But I thought it was actually going to end up like that. Thank God it didn't. Because Nick Sirianni in that game as well decided that it was a big, good, bright idea to just go for it instead of kicking the field goal and getting extra points. Same thing over and over again out of these guys. But I thankfully I was not the only one that thought that it was going to be a disaster and end up just like the Atlanta game. All right, we got our final call in here. It's from Joe. Joe's going to, I don't know what Joe's going to say here, but here is Joe.
This Eagles team might be the most unpredictable team in NFL history.
Oh, man. So Joe here, Joe has been a caller on this show before. Joe's been a caller on this show before, on my live streams. Joe does a lot of rage baiting. So, to be honest here, I can somewhat agree with this, with that statement that he just called in and said. Also, thank you for the call, Joe. What I personally think he means when he says the most unpredictable team in the NFL history is because you have no idea what they're going to do. You have no idea if they're going to go and blow a team out by 50. You don't know if they're going to have a lead and then blow it. You don't know anything. So I could agree with him that this is that this is an unexpected team. You don't know what they're going to do. You have no idea. That was good calling, Joe. I thought you were going to do something to rage bait me saying that Jalen Hurts is an MVP, this and that. Oh, man. No, but they're unpredictable. I will agree with you, Joe. They're unpredictable, and the coaching staff is severely unpredictable. But yeah, so the Eagles squeaked by with a win. The game should have never been as close as it was, but it was good to see that they were able to hold on to their small lead and win this ball game. But thank you all for tuning in. I love and appreciate every single one of you. Have a good night.